I still hear the sound of the prison gate closing. It was heavy, like iron pressing against my chest. The warder shouted, 35 years, and everyone stared at me. My legs shook, but I forced myself to stand straight. 35 years. A whole life gone. But this is not where my story started. My name is Samuel. I was the only son in my family. My father worked in a small carpentry shop, and my mother sold akara by the roadside. We didn't have much, but I tried to help. After school, I carried blocks at construction sites. Sometimes I washed cars for people in the estate. It was small money, but it kept me busy and gave me pride. I remember one day my friend Smith stopped by the car wash. He leaned on his shiny car, sunglasses on, gold chain hanging from his neck. Sam, how long you go to suffer like this? He asked, laughing as he pointed at the dirty water splashing my shoes. I smiled weakly. At least it's honest work. Smith shook his head. Honest no day pay, my guy. Look at me. Last year we day trekked together. Now see me. Just one deal and life change. I kept silent, but his words followed me home. At night I lay on my thin mattress, thinking. I could hear my parents talking in the next room. Did you see how Smith drove past today? My mother whispered. Yes, my father replied. That boy is enjoying. Samuel should try harder. We can't keep living like this. Their words cut deeper than Smith's. I was doing my best, yet it felt like nothing was enough. The next week, more of my friends came around. Johnson, Mike, even David, all wearing new clothes, new shoes, spraying money at the bar down the street. Sam, Johnson said, slapping my back. You're wasting your youth. Carrying blocks won't buy you even one tire of a car. Come join us. The world is soft if you know how to press it. I laughed nervously. What if we get caught? They all burst into laughter. Who go catch you? Police? Forget that thing. Everyone is doing it. Don't you want your parents to stop suffering? Don't you want respect? That night I couldn't sleep. Their laughter kept ringing in my head. Respect, money, ease. I wanted it too. I woke up one morning and felt angry with life. The sun was already hot, and I knew I would spend the day carrying blocks at the site. My hands were rough, my clothes torn, yet the money I made could barely buy rice and beans for home. On my way, I saw David. He leaned against his black car, music blasting. He wore a red polo shirt that still had the price tag on it. I stopped to greet him. Sam, he said, opening his car door, are you still working at that dirty site? Yes, I answered. Work is work. He smiled at me like I was a small child. Enter motor. Let's go eat breakfast. I entered, even though my shirt was sweaty and my hands dusty. He didn't mind. We drove to a fast food joint I had never entered before. Cold air hit my face as we stepped in. I looked around. Polished tables, glass cups, girls laughing in their neat clothes. David ordered food for both of us without even checking the price. Meat pies, fried rice, chicken, bottled drinks. The money he dropped on the counter was more than I earned in 2 days. As we ate, he leaned closer. Sam, you see how easy life can be? You're killing yourself for nothing. Come and join us. You have the brain. You're sharp. Stop washing cars for men who will never remember your name. I chewed slowly, not knowing what to say. That evening, I returned home carrying a nylon of food I couldn't finish. My mother's eyes widened. Samuel, where did you get this? David bought it, I said. We went out. She smiled, shaking her head. That David. His parents must be proud. Look at you. Your mates are already men, and you are still sweating under the sun. Her words stung. I wanted to shout, at least I am trying. But instead I stayed quiet. My father came back late from his carpentry shop. He looked tired, his shirt stained with sawdust. My mother gave him some of the fried rice. He asked, where did this one come from? Samuel's friend, she answered quickly. The one with the car. My father nodded, then looked at me. Sam, maybe you should learn from him. Your mates are doing well. You can't carry blocks forever. I felt like the floor had disappeared under my feet. Even my parents believed I was behind. The pressure grew each day. At night, when I lay on my mattress, I could hear my parents whispering. This boy is too slow, my mother would say. I know, my father replied. He is hardworking, but what is the use if it doesn't show? People will laugh at us. We need him to make it. Those words burned inside me. It wasn't just my friends pushing me anymore. My family was part of it too, even though they didn't say it directly. One Friday, Smith called me. Sam, dress well. We're going out tonight. Don't ask too many questions. Just come. I hesitated, but I remembered my mother's face when she said I was too slow. I remembered my father's tired sigh. I didn't want to be the boy everyone pitied. I wanted to stand tall too. So I wore my only clean shirt and went with them. We entered a small room at the back of a bar. There were 4 laptops on a table, the blue light glowing. Johnson sat in front of one, typing fast. Mike was on the phone, speaking in a fake accent. I froze at the door. "What's all this?" I asked. Smith laughed. "Welcome to the real world, my guy. This is where the money comes from." My heart raced. "You mean fraud?" No, Johnson said, smiling. "It's called survival. You think the rich man in America will miss a few dollars? He has more than enough. We're just taking our share." I wanted to turn back, but David pulled me in. "Sam, don't pretend. You've been hungry for too long. You want respect. You want your parents to stop complaining. You want girls to notice you. This is how." I sat down slowly. The laptop screen showed an email written to a white man. Sweet words, fake promises, pictures stolen from the internet. "Is this not dangerous?" I whispered. Smith placed a hand on my shoulder. "Dangerous is dying poor. Look at your parents, still suffering. Do you want that life forever? Or do you want to change their story?" I thought of my father's tired eyes, my mother's sighs, the way they admired my friends. My chest grew heavy. I nodded. That night, they gave me a laptop. "Type this," Johnson said. He dictated slowly, showing me how to arrange the words. "Always act like you care. Always act like you're honest. That's the trick." I followed his instructions, my fingers shaking. When we finished, he smiled. "Good. Tomorrow, you will see your first blessing." We went out to celebrate. At the club, the music was loud, lights flashing. My friends sprayed money in the air like water. Girls laughed, grabbing their hands. Bottles of alcohol lined the table. I sat quietly, unsure if I belonged there. But when a girl smiled at me and sat beside me, my doubt faded. I told myself this was the life I deserved. The next morning, my phone buzzed. It was a message from the white man I had written to. He believed my lies. He was ready to send money. I couldn't believe it. I showed the message to Smith. "You see, you are a natural," he said. "By next week, you'll be cashing out." My heart pounded with excitement and fear. That evening, I went home with a small bag of rice, a loaf of bread, and some meat. I dropped it on the table. My mother's eyes lit up. "Samuel, where did you get money for all this?" I paused, then said, "A friend helped me." She didn't ask further. She just smiled and began to cook. My father ate happily that night, thanking God for blessings. They didn't question me. They didn't want to know the truth. As long as the food came, as long as the money flowed, they were satisfied. Days passed, and I sent more messages. My first victim sent money, just a small amount, but it was more than I ever made in a month at the site. I held the cash in my hand, trembling. When I gave my mother some of it, she danced around the room. "My son, you are finally becoming a man. God has answered our prayers." I wanted to laugh at the irony. She thought it was God, but it was lies on a screen. That night I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. A small voice in my head whispered, "This is wrong." But another voice, louder and stronger, shouted, "Your parents are happy. Your friends respect you. Isn't this what you wanted?" I closed my eyes and chose the louder voice. Within a week, I had new clothes. By the second week, I bought a phone that shone like glass. My friends welcomed me fully into their group. "Sam, you are now one of us," Johnson said, raising his glass at the club. I smiled, the music filling my head. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged. But late at night, when the noise ended and the room grew quiet, doubt returned. I thought of the man I tricked, the trust I broke. My stomach twisted. Then I remembered my father's tired hands, my mother's sighs, and the way people used to laugh at me. I whispered to myself, "This is for them. This is for respect." And just like that, I drowned the doubt. The first time I held a bundle of crisp notes in my hands, I couldn't stop staring at it. I flipped through the money again and again, and like it might vanish if I blinked. All those nights of sweat at the construction site had never given me this. One lie, one email, and here it was. That same evening, I walked into our small sitting room with 2 nylon bags. Rice, meat, spaghetti, even tins of milk. My mother dropped the broom she was using to sweep. "Samuel," she shouted, her face breaking into a smile. "You bought all this?" "Yes, Mama," I answered. She rushed to hug me, the nylon bags still swinging in my hands. God has remembered us. I knew he would not leave my only son to suffer. My father came in later and saw the food on the table. He clapped his hands together. My son, you are a man now. This is how to do it. This is how to carry family on your shoulder. He didn't ask where the money came from. Neither of them did. That night, as we ate, I noticed the joy on their faces. It gave me a strange peace. The little voice that had whispered, "This is wrong," went quiet for a while. Within a few weeks, my life changed completely. I stopped going to the construction site. I didn't return to the car wash either. Instead, I woke up late, wore new clothes, and spent time with my friends. We had a routine. In the day, we sat with our laptops, sending emails, chatting with people abroad, pretending to be who we were not. At night, we celebrated. The first time I walked into the club wearing a new white shirt and shiny sneakers, I felt like a different person. The lights bounced off the mirrors, music shook the ground, and people stared when I walked past. Johnson shouted above the music, "Sam, you see how it feels? This is life." Girls came to our table, laughing, their perfume heavy in the air. Smith opened a bottle of champagne and sprayed it around. Money flew. People cheered. A girl touched my arm. "You're fine," she said. "What's your name?" "Samuel," I answered, smiling. From that night, I was no longer invisible. My phone was always buzzing, friends calling to invite me out, girls sending messages late into the night. Even old classmates who once mocked my torn shoes now greeted me with respect. I began to taste things I had only seen on TV. Fried chicken in boxes, cold drinks that burned the throat, clothes with foreign names printed on them. One evening, I brought home a brand new TV. My mother almost cried. "My son, where did you get money for this?" I smiled and said, "Don't worry, Mama, I'm working." She hugged me. "God is using you for this family." Again, she didn't ask questions. She didn't want the truth. She only wanted the comfort. Soon, my father stopped going to the carpentry shop as often. He would sit in the compound with neighbors boasting fun. "My son is a big man now. He takes care of us." The neighbors nodded, some with envy in their eyes. I noticed the way their daughters started greeting me differently. Polite, shy smiles. Their mothers offered me food, even when I didn't ask. The same people who once ignored me now wanted me close. But not everyone smiled. Some people whispered when I passed. I could see it in their eyes. They knew the truth, or at least suspected it. One old man in the neighborhood, Mr. James, stopped me one morning. "Samuel, come here." "Yes, sir." He looked me up and down. "Where are you working now? Because I see you no longer go to the site." I'm into business, sir." "What business?" he asked sharply. I forced a smile. "Online business." He shook his head slowly. "Young man, be careful. Money that comes too fast will scatter too fast." I laughed it off, but his words stayed in my mind for days. At home, my parents didn't want to hear anything negative. "Mama," I said once, "people are talking." She frowned. "Let them talk. Did they feed you when you were suffering? If they don't like your success, let them close their eyes." My father added, "This life is about results. You are bringing results. That is what matters." Their words pushed away my doubts again. I also noticed how the community changed towards us. Our house, once quiet, now had visitors almost every day. Aunties who never called before began to visit, bringing plastic chairs and sitting to chat. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly wanted to check on me. They all smiled too wide, spoke too sweet, their eyes fixed on my pocket. One Sunday after church, my pastor shook my hand firmly. "Brother Samuel, we see how God is blessing you. You must remember to sow into the house of the Lord." I nodded, dropping a wad of notes into the offering basket. The choir sang louder that day. People clapped as if I had given them a personal gift. But while most people praised me, others hated me quietly. I overheard one neighbor's son whispering, "He's a Yahoo boy, that's why he's shining." Another girl told her friend in the street, "Don't trust him, his money is dirty." I pretended not to hear. On the outside, I laughed and sprayed more money at parties. But inside, their words scratched at me. One night at the club, Smith leaned close to me. "Sam, don't mind anybody. Money is power. Today they may talk, tomorrow they will beg you. Keep cashing out. That's the only truth." I nodded, pretending to be strong. But later, when I was alone in my room, I couldn't sleep. I looked at the piles of clothes on my chair, the new phone glowing on the table, the sound of my parents snoring in the next room. I asked myself quietly, is this really worth it? But before the question could grow, I remembered the laughter of my friends, the respect of neighbors, the joy on my mother's face when she cooked with meat instead of dry fish. I shut my eyes and forced myself to sleep. Soon, my life became a circle. Money came in, money went out. Party after party, girl after girl. Friends cheered, family enjoyed, neighbors envied. I told myself it was the reward of hard work, even though deep inside I knew it was lies. But once you taste the fast life, it's hard to stop. The night I made the mistake that changed everything, I didn't even know it. It started like every other night. Music in the club, bottles on the table, girls laughing, my friends spraying money like kings. Smith leaned close and shouted into my ear, "Sam, I have a big connect for you. This one is different. If you play it well, you'll cash out heavy." I was already half drunk, but his words cut through the noise. "How big?" I asked. "Very big," he said, grinning. "This man is loaded. He's from the States. All we need is your sweet mouth. You know how to type well. You're good at making people trust you." I hesitated. My last jobs had given me steady money, enough to keep me afloat, but never the huge sums my friends bragged about. I wanted to reach their level. I wanted people to look at me and say, "Samuel has arrived." So I nodded. "Send me the details." The next day, Smith handed me an email draft. "His name is Mr. Williams," he explained. "A rich businessman from New York. He's old, lonely, and gullible. We've been warming him up, but you'll close the deal. Tell him a story that will make him trust you. Promise him partnership, love, whatever. Just make him send." I looked at the profile they had built. Fake photos, fake documents, everything. My chest felt heavy. "Smith, are you sure about this one?" He laughed. "Don't be a baby, Sam. This is your ticket to the top. One good deal and you'll buy a car. Do you want to remain small?" I shook my head slowly. "No." "Then do it," he said. So I did. I spent hours typing the email, polishing every word. I told Mr. Williams that I was a young business partner in Africa looking for someone trustworthy to invest with. I called him sir. I added Bible verses. I even pretended to share personal secrets. When I clicked send, my hands were trembling. 2 days later, the reply came. He believed me. I showed Smith the message. "Good boy," he shouted, slapping my back. "Now push him harder. Make him send documents, money, anything. Once he sends the first one, he won't stop." At first, everything went smoothly. Mr. Williams replied quickly. He even sent me photos of his family, his office, his dog. He called me son. He trusted me. But something in his messages felt sharp, like he was asking too many questions. One day he wrote, "Where exactly are you writing from, Samuel? Can you give me your phone number so I can call you?" I panicked and showed Smith. "Relax," he said. "Give him a fake number. Let Johnson handle the calls. He can change his voice." So Johnson pretended to be me, and the man believed it. After a month of back and forth, the money came in. Huge money, more than I had ever seen. My head spun when I held the cash. I felt like a king. We celebrated that night. Bottles, music, girls, everything. I even promised my parents that I would buy them a generator. But deep down, something was different. The man had sent too easily, almost like he wanted us to take it. The trap closed 2 weeks later. It was a Tuesday morning. I was still in bed when I heard a loud bang on the gate. Before I could stand, the front door flew open. Men in black uniforms stormed inside, shouting, "Everybody down! Police!" I froze. My mother screamed from the kitchen. My father dropped his cup of tea, his hands shaking. 2 men grabbed me from the bed and pushed me to the floor. Cold handcuffs bit into my wrists. "What's happening?" I shouted. "I'm not a criminal." One of the men sneered. "Shut up. You're under arrest for internet fraud. You've been defrauding Americans. We have evidence." My heart dropped to my stomach. No, please. It's a mistake." They didn't listen. They pulled me up roughly and dragged me outside. Neighbors gathered at the gate, whispering, pointing. Some had shock on their faces. Others smirked like they had always known. I saw Smith's car parked far away. I saw Johnson standing at the corner. None of them moved. They just watched as the police pushed me into their van. "Smith!" I shouted. "Help me!" He turned his face away. That's when I knew. I was alone. The van rattled as it sped down the road. I sat between 2 officers, my wrists chained. My mind raced. "This must be a mistake," I muttered. "Maybe I can explain. Maybe I can call someone." The officer beside me laughed. "Explain to who?" The man you scammed is a big fish, very powerful. He set you up, boy. You walked right into his trap. I stared at him, my throat dry. Another officer said, "You thought you were smart. Now you will see. People like you disgrace this country. You will pay." I closed my eyes. Images flashed in my mind. My parents eating happily, my friends spraying money, the old man in the street warning me. My chest burned. At the station, they threw me into a dark cell. The smell of sweat and urine hit me. Other men sat on the floor, staring at me. One of them asked, "What did you do?" I swallowed hard. "Fraud," he chuckled. "Yahoo, boy, your own dawn finish." I sat in the corner, pulling my knees to my chest. Hours passed, then days. They questioned me, slapped me, forced me to admit everything. I cried, I begged, but nothing changed. The evidence was clear. The emails, the calls, the bank transfers. They had it all. I asked for my parents. They came once, standing outside the bars. "Mama," I cried, "Papa, please help me." My mother's eyes were red, but she didn't come close. She just shook her head. My father spoke in a low voice. "Samuel, what have you done to us? Do you want to shame this family? We don't know you." "Papa, please," I begged, tears running down my face. "Don't leave me." But they turned and walked away. The trial came fast. Too fast. I stood in court, my hands cuffed, guards on both sides. The judge looked at me like I was dirt. The lawyer read out the charges. Fraud, cybercrime, impersonation, theft. I tried to speak. "My lord, I was pressured." "Silence!" the judge shouted. The American man, Mr. Williams, appeared on a screen. He looked calm, his voice steady. "This boy scammed me. He made me believe lies. He thought he could steal from me. I want him punished." I wanted to scream that I was sorry, that I didn't mean for it to go this far, but the words stuck in my throat. The gavel hit the table. 35 years imprisonment. The sound echoed in my ears. They dragged me out of the courtroom. My eyes searched the crowd for my friends, my family, anyone. Smith wasn't there. Johnson wasn't there. The girls, the neighbors, the pastor who once praised me, none of them came. I was alone. As the prison gates closed behind me, the weight of it all crashed down. The noise of the club, the laughter, the smell of perfume, the taste of money, all of it vanished. Now there was only silence, iron, and time. The first week in prison, I waited for someone to visit me. I sat by the iron bars every morning, staring at the corridor, listening for footsteps. I told myself, maybe Mama will come today. Maybe Papa will bring food. Maybe Smith will send a lawyer. But nobody came. The other prisoners noticed. One old man with gray hair laughed at me. "You're waiting for people?" he asked. "Yes," I whispered. "My family, my friends." He shook his head. "Forget them. Once you fall, they will deny you. That is the way of the world." I wanted to argue, but deep down I knew he was right. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. My friends who once clapped for me at the club disappeared like smoke. None of them picked my calls. Smith changed his number. Johnson moved to another city. Mike blocked me completely. I heard rumors through other inmates. "Those your guys? They are still cashing out, enjoying. They don't even mention your name." The words cut me like knives. At night, when the lights went off, I would lie on the thin prison mattress and replay memories. The bottles spraying in the club. The girls laughing in my ear. The way my parents smiled when I dropped money on the table. Now it all felt fake, like a dream that turned into a nightmare. One day, I got a chance to speak to my father again. They allowed us 5 minutes. He stood behind the bars, not meeting my eyes. His shirt was neat, cleaner than I had seen in years. I realized then that maybe he was living better now on the money I had once brought home. "Papa, please don't leave me like this," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm your son. I need you," he sighed heavily. "Samuel, you disgraced us. Everyone in the community talks. They call you a thief, a criminal. How can I stand with you? People will laugh at me too." "Papa, I did it for you and Mama," I shouted, tears burning my eyes. "I wanted respect. I wanted you to stop suffering." He shook his head slowly. "Respect built on lies does not last. See where it has brought you." I pressed my hands against the bars. "At least say you forgive me." But he turned and walked away. That was the last time I saw him. My mother never came again either. I used to dream of her voice, the way she used to call my name. In those dreams, she hugged me, saying, "My son, I forgive you." But when I woke, there was only silence. I realized then that my family had chosen comfort over me. As long as they could eat, as long as neighbors stopped laughing at them, they were fine. They had cut me off like a dead branch. The loneliness grew heavy. In prison, friends are everything, but I didn't trust anyone anymore. Some inmates mocked me. Big boy, Yahoo boy, where are your girlfriends now? Where is your champagne, eh? Where are your boys spraying money? I sat in the corner, silent. Sometimes I thought of ending it all, but I didn't. I told myself I must live long enough to face the truth, even if it crushed me every day. One evening, I sat with the old man who had laughed at me before. He was peeling groundnuts, his fingers slow. "Why are you always quiet, boy?" he asked. "I lost everything," I said softly. He chewed slowly. "No, you lost nothing. You still have your breath. You still have your mind. Some of us in here have killed. Some have no chance to be forgiven. You? You still have time. Time for what?" I asked bitterly. 35 years? I'll come out when I'm old." He nodded. "Maybe. But if you live, you can still warn others. You can tell them the truth about money that is not clean." His words stayed with me. Years passed. Prison life became my new world. Waking up at dawn, eating tasteless beans, working under the sun. My hands became rough again, my back bent. But in the silence of those years, I thought a lot. I remembered every choice I made. The day I first followed Smith. The first email I typed. The night I saw my parents smiling over stolen food. I realized something painful. It wasn't just my friends who pushed me. It wasn't just peer pressure. My parents too. My community too. Everyone who clapped when I spent money but stayed silent when I worked honestly. They were all part of my fall. But in the end, the mistake was mine. I chose to listen. I chose the shortcut. One night, lying on my mattress, I whispered to myself, "Money without truth is poison. It tastes sweet at first, but it kills in the end." I wished someone had told me that when I was still washing cars. I wished my parents had held my hand and said, "Samuel, keep working honestly. We are proud of you." But they didn't. Now I was the lesson. Sometimes new young prisoners arrive. They come in with loud mouths, bragging about the money they made from fraud before they were caught. I watch them quietly until they notice me. Then I speak. "Do you think your friends will stand for you when the gates close? Do you think your family will shout your name in court? They will deny you. They will vanish, just like mine did." Some laugh at me. Others go quiet. But I always tell them the truth. Fast money is a lie. It will show you heaven at night and dump you in hell by morning. I know. I lived it. Now, every time I close my eyes, I see that day in court. The judge lifting the gavel. The words 35 years echoing in my head. The sound of the gate closing behind me. I know I will carry that sound until my last breath. I don't expect forgiveness from my parents anymore. I don't expect my friends to remember me. But if my story escapes these prison walls, if even one young boy hears it and chooses not to follow my path, then maybe my 35 years will not be wasted. Because I have learned the hardest truth. It is better to be poor and free than to be rich in lies and chained forever.